And I will beg your indulgence for a couple of minutes to explain this. In this land, my land, our land, India, education has been a far more different enterprise in every sense of the term for a few thousand years. It so with far more accuracy, greater speed, and to far off places where European ships could not even dream to go. And I will bear this out with evidence. Indian ships from Indian ports all across India's coastline were traveling well beyond Africa. And not many of us know that Vasco da Gama, who is credited with having discovered the sea route to India, actually had an Indian navigator by the name of Kana who brought his ship from Africa. What we don't know is that Indian ships were doing this regularly. And why was that? Business and enterprise causing any harm to society. India's contribution to global GDP in that age or those ages was more than 30%, single-handedly. Sustainable development, no harm seems to have accrued to society. That is why we came. And so it may serve and other experiences. And my point is twofold. For the theme of this conference, a system of education like this distinguished college must come forward. It must show the way. We, somewhere in India, along the way in the 20th century, lost ourselves, completely forgot the lessons of the past. And we took, in a warped, distorted fashion, a Western model. There are many in the immediate past of the last 10 years, and also what we have learned the last few thousand years. And I urge you to think about that. And that may help sustainable development come about in a better way. We need to think carefully. Think about this, that there are a bunch of universities. If you examine the world economy of the last 7, 8 years, it has literally been brought to its knees, almost to a standstill. We in India are terribly worried that our economy has slowed down to something like almost 6% or a little below that. We're really worried, we're upset. I see people writing in newspapers, the economy is in a mess. I see Parliament discussing this. I want the young students to know something interesting. The Brazilian president was here a few months ago. We at the university gave her an honorary doctorate, a distinguished lady. We admired her, and so we gave her this doctorate. And I asked her over a cup of tea, is your economy doing all right? And she said, yeah, we did quite well. We grew at 2%. We need to think about this. And how do we do that? Our knowledge systems, our colleges, must organize activities and events that flow into the minds of their students. And their own actions flow into society. And we are working hard. And I invite everyone to help us in this enterprise. We are trying to move towards a new undergraduate program. We are doing that with care, with caution, with enormous consultation. We've organized open academic congresses, meetings with groups of teachers, and we keep doing that. A task force of 61 members is now deliberating, even as I speak with you, on its own recommendations based on all the feedback that we've obtained from more than 4,000 faculty, thousands of students and parents, and our own mindsets. And that will be brought forward to various systems, our academic executive councils. But all of us need to be participants and partners. No system will be affected in any adverse way, otherwise it is not sustainable growth.
We are very grateful to Professor Leroy for his presence here today. Mr. Roy is not here with us today. He was supposed to come, probably he is busy somewhere else, but we will stand up for some time and traffic him. and to stay their preoccupations to attend this event and give the event the benefit of their erudition and expert experience. We are honored, we are thankful, and we are grateful to you for being a part of this conference. Thank you very much, sir. Our special thanks are due to the conference advisor and college governing body chairman, Shri Siddharth Mishra, who despite of. And finally, a big thanks to the august gathering here, comprising of delegates, faculty, students, and researchers from across the length and breadth of this country, besides from other countries, as well as to the delegates from abroad. Thank you very much. Now we will break for a tea, and after the tea break, we will join for the. Now we will have the plenary address, and for that I invite. The address will be very good.
जहाँ भी ये ले जाएगा वो दिशा शुभ हो जाएगी और मैं जानता हूँ कि इससे अच्छी बातें निकलने वाली है वाला हूँ।
एज ए कुलपति दिल्ली विश्वविद्यालय, आप क्या सोचते हैं कि इस तरह शाश्वत विकास के लिए कोई नया विभाग का स्थापना करना होगा दिल्ली विश्वविद्यालय?
विभाग हो न हो, आचार विचार ये इस तरह के अच्छे चलते रहें तो बढ़िया होगा। विभाग भी हो जाए तो कोई बुरा नहीं।
किस 3 दिवसीय सम्मेलन को किस दिशा में देखना चाहते हैं? कुछ सफलता की दिशा में देखना चाहते हैं?
सफल तो मैं मानता हूँ ये हो गया, लेकिन ये और भी सफल होगा अगर ये इसको नियमित रूप से हर वर्ष किसी न किसी तरह से इसका आयोजन करने को मिला।
हमारे साथ दिल्ली विश्वविद्यालय के कुलपति
बाय सिद्धार्थ, थैंक यू,
वेरी नाइस,
टेक केयर, बाय बाय।
Women about They have been doing dance performances in 400 villages in Jharkhand to educate women about how to avoid violent situations because of drunkenness of men or because of other forms of problems. There are many such groups all over. Right here in New Delhi, there are theater groups who are doing theater on the street to show people what their rights are and use art to educate both the underprivileged, the excluded, the poor, the oppressed.
प्रोफेसर श्रीवास्तव, हमारी संस्कृति में सबसे बड़ी बात है कि पूरे दुनिया में, पूरे विश्व के तमाम आंकड़े को संदर्भ में रखते हुए मैं एक बात जरूर कहना चाहूँगा कि जो पूरी प्रकृति और पूरी ग्लोबलाइजेशन में आर्थिक मनुष्य के निर्माण की जो प्रक्रिया चली है और ग्रीड की जो प्रक्रिया चली है, उसमें अगर कुछ सस्टेन करना होगा तो हमारे विचार से हमारी संस्कृति में एक कहावत है कि साईं इतना दीजिए जामे कुटुंब समाए, मैं भी भूखा ना रहूं साधु न भूखा जाए। तो जो ये नेचर से लेकर के और तमाम प्राकृतिक संसाधन है, यदि इसका बैलेंस बिगड़ जाएगा तो आर्थिक मनुष्य दुनिया की मानवता को नहीं बचा सकता है। अगर हमें पूरी मानवता को बचाए रखना है या ह्यूमन गुड इंटेंशन को बचाए रखना है तो हमें इस ग्रीड को कम करना पड़ेगा।
From the fact that when we are looking at MNEs or MNCs or whatever nomenclature we may use for them, we are looking for profit motives. Now, whether profit motives would somewhere balance themselves with sustainability, human needs, and of course you talked about inequality, poverty and everything. Take for example the state of Chhattisgarh, which is gripped with what we call left-wing extremism. It's a very, very mixed kind of phenomenon. I have been personally studying it for a while, and we don't know where we are heading at the moment. And not very concrete data, but whatever information that is emanating from there tells us that MNCs, MNEs, Indian companies and so on and so forth, contractors, are exploiting everything that they could. And in the process, they are virtually making living unsustainable for the local people whom we call tribals. I don't know. It's a very funny kind of a nomenclature, but it's there in our country, I'm not too sure how to, find ways and means, because politics, you talked of corruption. That's another issue that I have been, engaged with for a while. All these things mixed together. I don't know where and how and what kind of art. Some of it, the MNEs or Indian companies, encourage to save taxes. In all this, I don't know how do we make living sustainable people. For him, life itself has become unsustainable. Thank you.
And your presentation was quite insightful. So you talked about creating profitable but beautiful businesses. I have worked with certain NGOs in the past. And have you really seen any business entity adopting this practice where they have promoted, culture strategy instead of economic strategy? This is my question to you.
Comment on all the three questions. The first one was more of a comment about the nature of greed, and I'm glad that you pointed out that there are cultural resources within Indian tradition that we can draw upon to perhaps overcome some of the personal greed that has driven the world to this brink of an ecological crisis. I have no deep understanding of how we can overcome that greed except by saying that through our own lives and and by our own example, we could perhaps make small improvements, especially with the realization that after a certain level of consumption, it actually doesn't provide happiness, it actually causes sickness. So I'm living in a country where now 45–50% of the people are considered obese and actually have diabetes as a disease that harms them, a result of overconsumption. So I think we humans need to come to grips with our own greed, and perhaps in our own lives we can make some small changes. So that's just my comment. I heard the Prime Minister, Manmohan Singh, at one point say that Maoist rebellion and the rebellion of the poor is now the biggest security threat to the country, that more troops in this country are now directed against its own people than at its border. This is something for us to think about. More troops are defending us against these rebellions of our own people. Things that are doing destructive things that have to be stopped. It's not just a problem in Chhattisgarh, it's a problem in the state that I live in the country that I live in currently, Canada and Quebec. There are proposals to develop northern part of Quebec right now on the table that would put in 17 new power plants and extract every little mining resource that is left in that part of the world. But there is also resistance. There is opposition. People like you and me vote with our pocketbooks, we vote with the ballot box, we live in democratic societies. So we need to use all the mechanisms available in our hand to stop certain multinationals. I don't think everything is fair game for profits. I think profit is a privilege that you can make if you're serving other aspects of society. So I think we need some change that has differentiated it from all the other PC makers. And for many, many years, its approach to designing products that were both, for many years it didn't succeed. In fact, for the first 10 years of Apple's operation, they had a computer. But over the years, we have found that that kind of an approach, which thinks about the friendly, has paid dividends. So I would propose that there's a company that has taken aesthetics somewhat seriously. Construction and building. There are companies that excel in creating beautiful buildings. There are architects that excel and that get business, and that's part of their whole business strategy. So yes, there are companies in different industries, but I suspect more companies need to learn to do that.
Yeah. You look at the problems of climate change and other things, you know, all these things. And looking at all these things, it seems very, very simple. It's okay that through art you can sensitize people, you can increase awareness, but it is not going to bring any solution to the problem that we are facing. So it's very, very simple. I think that the countries, at the countries level also, the governments, they are to take a decisions, and they are not taking a decisions. Even in case of US also, that's the biggest emitter also, they are not taking any decisions. They are now happy that because of the shale gas, they are going to reduce that carbon and other things. Canada is also, I think, expecting the same thing. So there is no solution from these things, because the problem is very, very big, it's very, very immediate. If we start looking at only just the arts as a solutions, it will take say decades and centuries also. So what solution that you have in your mind? It's not enough with arts.
Okay.
Can I?
Yes. Last question.
Okay. So thank you very much for your interesting, informative, very illuminative and answer. First, I would like to give my own observation, and second, I will put the question to you. The sustainable development, even prior to that, India was following the sustainable development in an indirect way. This sustainable development was part of the soft law because it was a declaration. But if at all it was given to the hard law status in India, but for the intervention of the Supreme Court judgment in the Vellore Citizens Welfare Forum case, where Justice Kuldeep Singh has said, as long as it is not contrary to the municipal law, it is nothing law, infusing into our as long as it is followed in the customary international law, it is nothing wrong in following or infusing into a municipal law. This status has been given in the form of a hard law into the Indian thing.
Now, an offshoot of the sustainable development will be the absolute liability, pull-the-case principle, this right of the future generation have come. But if you see the same Supreme Court in the other judgments, Article 21, right to life. Right to life includes providing a clean and healthy environment. So non-providence of the clean and healthy environment violating one of the fundamental rights, whereby environmental right is given the constitutional status. But in the very same Supreme Court in another case said right to life includes right to livelihood also. If the livelihood is taken and then there is, if you are giving the right to life, means it is only the dummy right. So if there is a clash comes between the environment and development, again this tricky issue comes. If you see the present status, that our constitution says economic, social justice and economic justice. So whether we want the social justice first or the economic justice the first one. Then take for example carbon trading also. If you start apportioning, if you start doing the carbon trading in India, it is apportioning our environment.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, sir. Please, if you could be very specific, we are running out of time.
So, right, this is again, it is coming to that apportioning of our environment means you are giving the right to pollution for that matter. Now, how to integrate the economic justice and social justice? Second one, policy environmental analysis. Why we are not carrying out in India, a developing country? Then how to integrate the economics into the environmental aspect. For example, environmental impact assessment, we are doing it, but we are not integrating the economic value of the environment. How these three things can be integrated for that matter. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm not sure that I can answer all those very difficult questions. I thought you guys are here for the next 2 days to answer these questions. Expert who has all the solutions. I am proposing a way of looking, a perspective that perhaps allows us to get out of the... So yes, there are some hard choices to be made politically. There are some hard choices and rationalization of legal issues of law and institutions, that issues of politics. I think for me, the current country of Canada or in the United States, the leaders are going to... And the system needs to be rethought. From within, leaders who have a different a way of living ourselves that allows us to go beyond the current politics and in a time frame that is meaningful. The Sustainability 1.0 was about these debates and these questions are coming out of, which are outside political systems. Sustainability 2.0, which is where I would like us to move this conference to, is about internal to us, to our psyches, to our relationships with each other, to nature. And that's where I think art has a role to play. Perhaps art doesn't have that big a role to play in us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Paul.
हमारे साथ इसमें शहीद भगत सिंह इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेज के प्रिंसिपल श्री पी के पुराने साहब मेरे साथ मौजूद हैं। तो आज मैं उनसे बात करना चाहूँगा कि उन्होंने 1973 में जिस शहीद भगत सिंह कॉलेज की इस्टेब्लिश हुआ था, आज तक में उन्होंने शहीद भगत सिंह कॉलेज को क्या दिशा और क्या दशा दी है। हम सबसे पहले धन्यवाद देना चाहेंगे अंतर्राष्ट्रीय संगठन दिल्ली विश्वविद्यालय ने, जो पहली बार इस तरीके का बड़ा सम्मेलन देश विदेश के नामी गिरामी विद्वानों ने आयोजित किया है। अच्छा, मैं आपको सबसे बड़ा धन्यवाद देना चाहूँगा इस तरह का जब अपनी कैसा लग रहा है?
सबसे पहले तो मैं आपका धन्यवाद करता हूँ कि आपने हमारे कॉलेज के लिए और इस अंतर्राष्ट्रीय सम्मेलन के बारे में जो अच्छे शब्द कहे हैं। मैंने इस भगत सिंह कॉलेज इवनिंग को 1975 में ज्वाइन किया एज ए लेक्चरर और 1907 में यहाँ को एजुकेशनल इसको किया गया और फिर 2007 मई